Good morning and welcome to the Daily Cyber Briefing for Friday, the 6th of September. I'm Stephen Ridgway. Apache Off-Biz update is addressing a high severity flaw that could lead to remote code execution. So Apache Off-Biz is an open source enterprise resource planning system. If this vulnerability is exploited, it could lead to unauthenticated remote code execution on Linux and Windows. So a high severity vulnerability tracked as CVE 2024 45195, CVSS score of 7.5. So not as high as some, but certainly high enough that you would recommend taking this seriously and doing something about it. It affects all software versions before 18.12.16. Basically, an attacker with no valid credentials could exploit missing view authorization checks in the web application to execute arbitrary code, according to Rapid7. So if you are using Apache Off-Biz, as always, recommend that you take a look at this and you apply patches. There are also other patches out that address other vulnerabilities in this particular piece of code, just spotted in the article. That there is a fix for CVE 2024 45507, which has got a CVSS score of 9.8, which could lead to unauthorized access and system compromise using specifically crafted URLs. So there are patches available for Off-Biz at the moment. If you are using it, very much recommend that you take a look at those and apply them if applicable. Apply them if applicable? Apply them if you need them. Veeam has addressed 18 high and critical severity flaws in Veeam backup and replication. So the most severe flaw is tracked as CVE 2024 40711 with a CVSS score of 9.8, which impacts the Veeam backup and replication solution. The vulnerability would allow unauthenticated remote code execution on the device. Now, as always, one of the best mitigations to, certainly to ransomware and various other situations, service outage and so on and so forth. If you have good, solid, reliable, uncompromised backups, it makes restoring systems much easier. So backup system security is very important. If you are using, Veeam is tried, tested, trusted, very good solution, very functional solution. Also, in my experience, they do take security seriously. So if you are using Veeam, would recommend you have a look at this particular link, or this particular article. The one that we've linked is Security Affairs, but it links out to the original advisory as well, and gives a good, quick to read overview of what's going on. But if you're using Veeam, definitely recommend you have a look at that and apply patches and updates at your earliest opportunity. So, China's Earth Lusca, Lusca group is propagating a multi-platform backdoor known as KTLV door. It connects to what's described as a vast back-end infrastructure, and it suggests that further attacks by multiple actors are underway or imminent. Research from Trend Micro has focused on this, and there has been a Trend Micro blog published on September the 4th that includes a good number of indicators of compromise and a good technical deep dive into what this particular piece of malware does and how it does it. It's written in Golang. There are Microsoft Windows and Linux versions, and it is normally distributed as a dynamic link library. There is there has been a fair amount of effort put into obfuscating what it does. So it is one of those pieces of malware where you need to have a reasonable understanding of what you're looking for in order to find it. There are the usual obfuscation techniques, changing the names of the components involved, and so on and so forth. So the embedded strings within the malware are not directly readable. As it says in this article, symbols are stripped and most of the functions of packages were renamed to random base 64 like looking strings in an attempt to slow down malware analysis. One thing to think about is should any of the packages on your devices have random base 64 like names? I think there is a fairly strong argument for saying that no, they shouldn't be. Certainly worth thinking about building some alerting, which there are already pre-written alerts or rules that will identify random base 64 like names of things or components or whatever it may be. So don't worry if you are concerned in your SOC about trying to write something that matches a random length base 64. People have done that before you. You can reuse it. So it's out there. I would recommend that you at least think about putting in place some alerting based on the existence of those sorts of things, because generally you wouldn't expect those to be. It may be that some packages do that as part of deploying. They do some strange things, but at least then, if you've got visibility on this stuff, then you can make the decision. Beyond that, so we've also linked out to the so we've got a good article from Dark Reading for you to have a look at, which gives a superb overview of what's going on. However, we've also linked the Trend Micro blog, because that gives more of the technical details. So if you are looking to dissect this and have a proper understanding of how it has been constructed and pull out potentially some more detailed indicators of compromise, the information that you may need is in the Trend Micro article, although that makes for a little bit more dense reading. Then finally from me for today, the Biden administration has filed charges against Russians who have been accused of election meddling. So, working with the Treasury and Justice Departments, the president has sanctioned what is described as anti-democratic Russian adversaries. So, why am I bringing this to your attention? Well, firstly, because I think there remains a tranche of the populace that just don't believe that this stuff goes on. But I think we can be I think there is now irrefutable evidence that certain regimes around the world are actively looking to interfere or influence events in Western countries. Western countries do it to each other as well. I mean, let's be honest, it isn't not exactly clean here. Sometimes that's just for disruption. Sometimes it's because there is a particular end game in place. Also, have to bear in mind that we are relying on these agencies to be truthfully defending freedom, and we do know that that hasn't been. Well, it's certainly over the last few years, it hasn't been the case that you can take that for granted. State-enforced COVID misinformation, I think, is the really blatant example of that. However, if you are concerned about whether the information that you're basing your personal decisions around or personal opinions around things on, be aware that this stuff is going on. And as I said before, social media is probably not the best place to be getting information on which you make large decisions or important decisions or formulate important opinions. That's all from me for today. I am handing over to Rich Benfield for next week. You'll have the very great pleasure of Rich, who is generally more professional in this than I am. So good on you, Rich. So I hope you have a great weekend. Hope you have a good week next week, and I will speak to you all again the following Monday.